Okay, so example 2 says graph x equals negative 3y squared plus 9y minus 1. On this one, first I'm going to have to complete the square. So this is a little practice completing the square. And this will be one with a parabola. The graph will be a parabola with a horizontal axis of symmetry. I can tell because it's x equals, right? X is a function of y here instead of y being a function of x, instead of having y equals blah, blah, blah. Okay, the x's and y's have been switched. So the first thing I do is factor the leading coefficient minus 3 out of the first two terms, leaving the minus 1 at the end alone. And so I write down minus 3, and then inside these square brackets, I put negative 3y squared divided by negative 3, which is y squared, and plus 9y divided by minus 3, negative 3, and that's going to be negative 3y right here. Okay, and now I need to figure out what B is, capital B is. Write it down. Too many students don't write this down and then they get lost. They don't know what they're doing. So you write down what B is. B is going to be half of the coefficient of y here. So it's 1/2 of negative 3. So it's negative 3 over 2. Okay, then you square it and write that down. B squared is, and that's always going to be positive, of course. That's 9/4. And so you have to add and subtract 9/4 in here. Always add first. So add 9/4 minus 9/4. Then this trinomial, y squared minus 3y plus 9/4, will factor. It's a perfect square, and so it'll factor as x minus 3/2, the quantity squared, and it'll leave this minus 9/4 left over there. But the minus 3 in front, the brackets, and the minus 1, you copy down the same, and we're just working inside the brackets, changing the form of that, completing the square on the thing inside the brackets. So we get this, negative 3, open bracket, open paren, y minus 3/2, close paren squared, minus 9/4, close bracket, minus 1. Blah. Mouthful. Now we're going to distribute this minus 3. The reason we're distributing the minus 3, or negative 3, is because we want to combine this negative 9/4 and the negative 1, but you can't because the negative 9/4 is inside the brackets. The brackets are in the way. So to get rid of the brackets, the square brackets, I have to distribute the negative 3. So it goes here, and it goes here. Okay? When you put it here, you end up with this, negative 3 times the quantity y minus 3/2 squared. And then when negative 3 times negative 9/4, negative times negative is positive, and the 3, of course, goes on top. So it's 27/4. Now, the negative 1 I brought down, but since I'm trying to combine it with the 27/4, I need a 4 in the denominator. So I just rewrote negative 1 as negative 4 over 4. Okay, so I can combine these two. And so that'll obviously be 23 over 4. So I get x equals 3 times the quantity y minus 3/2 squared plus 23/4. Okay, so now it's in the proper form where I can, it's a standard form for the equation of a parabola. And now I can figure out what the vertex is and the axis of symmetry and graph it. So to find the vertex, take the argument of the squaring function, which is y minus 3/2, set it equal to 0 and solve, and write that down. Not just 3/2, write down the equation you get when you solve y minus 3/2 equals 0. So that would be y equals 3/2. That's the axis of symmetry. And it's also the y coordinate of the vertex. If you don't write down the y equals, almost always you're going to end up putting 3/2 as the x coordinate, which is wrong. the x-coordinate of the vertex. It's wrong. It's the y-coordinate, the second coordinate. Okay? The first coordinate is going to be the other one, 23/4. And I wrote down x equals 23/4 to make sure that I didn't put that in the second coordinate, which again is the most common mistake here. So I wrote these out in decimal form because I'm going to be graphing them, right? So it's just a little easier to graph. So 5.75 and 1.5. And notice the color coding. So the y goes second. The x-coordinate goes first. Big surprise, right? But be careful about that, because that's the most common mistake on these. So now I graph the vertex. It's around there, right? And then I have a leading coefficient of -3, which you can read off from here or from here if you did it right. Those are the same number. Okay, and so I'm going to go, it's sideways, so I'm going to go up or down, and then I'm going to go, since it's negative, I'm going to go left 3 from this point, which will be somewhere around there. So up, left 3, down, up 1, left 3, down 1, left 3 from that point. And drawing a parabola, and that's it.